Hello and welcome back to Rain or Shine Farm. This morning I am out. Oh, I see a beautiful feather on the ground. I am out gonna do actually like a circle of the property, at least kind of the front portion. So I'll take you around on that, and then we'll go take a look at the ducks and the garden and get a little garden tour in. See how the chickens are, but yeah, mostly gonna take a walk around, which should be nice. All right, see you there. All right, good morning. Chickens are out. Hello, guys. I'll come say hi on the way back, actually. So, we're gonna take a loop of the property. It's morning time for me, about 9 a.m. And right now, as you can see, our property is pretty tall, covered with grass. So I'm gonna actually walk along the ditch, which you can't really see right here, but you'll see shortly. I'm actually looking right now. There's some future blackberries, but these ones do not get morning sun. So I'll have to come back in a bit for those. But yeah, we're gonna walk down the ditch, go through a bit of the woods, come back around the other side, and yeah, we'll just take a look. So I'm following a bit of a deer trail here. You hear the chickens chatting this morning. So try to kind of follow where the deer go, because they know what's up. All right, here we go. So this is one of the ditches. This is the big one that when it rains, in particular in the wintertime, this gets this whole area kind of from here all the way up gets full of water. So right now it's summer. We don't normally in the Pacific Northwest get much rain in the summer. Usually it's pretty dry. But this year, at least at this property, we've been getting, I don't know, rain about once a week. Not super heavy rain, not necessarily like totally enough to water everything. But you can see here, right, it's pretty dry. We have clay soil, so in the summer without a lot of plants on this, it's actually cracking. I just keep hearing animals in the grass. But yeah, if you look this way, so the chickens are back there somewhere, but can't see them. But it's actually pretty dry in here. But yeah, in the wintertime when I walk in here, I mean, if it has been raining a lot, you can't really walk in here. So the water's too high, at least even for my boots. And my boots are pretty tall. They're like, ooh, I just saw a little snake. Let's see. Where are you? I won't scare it, but I'll try to be on the lookout for any more. They are probably going to be out sunning themselves. And the sun is just kind of, it's up, but it's actually kind of hazy today. I think we're going to get, there's a lot of fires. Not super close to us, but just in Washington in general. I think like half of Oregon is on fire. And so I think this afternoon actually we are getting some bad air quality. This morning it smells just kind of lightly like burning. Not like campfire burning, it smells different than that. It smells like fires. But anyway, yeah, we're supposed to get bad air quality this afternoon, so it's part of why I'm filming right now. And it's nice and cool actually this morning. I think it got down to 45 degrees last night, which is still so chilly for us. for autumn. Generally we're not like that, but again, this is our first, we're actually coming up on almost a year of us owning this property. We came out, I think, last August 10th to do a loop around the property. So I thought that'd be fun to do that right now. So this area is like actually a pond in the winter. Right here, there's a big, this is like a holding area. This one goes down the middle, and then we have the creek beyond it back there. And so you can see the animal tracks here. The deer have been going through here, and whatever else. So I'm gonna try to follow those, but I'm gonna go probably take a look at the creek, see if there is a creek right now. It could be dry by this point. This is interesting. But oh, it smells good back here. I think this is some Queen Anne's lace. Look at that little critter hanging out under there. Okay, let's see here. So, yeah, so if you look up, we're at the edge of the trees, so kind of our forest. All right, so yeah, so we're gonna walk through there, that tunnel. I call it a tunnel because it's just like in between the two forests, but I'm gonna go back here and see if we can see any water. So this is actually a willow right here. It's kind of hard to see, but I'll get a little closer. So these, I think it's called a coastal willow or something like that. So not a weeping willow, but it is basically, when there's water in here, it like is standing in the middle of this downstream area that then dumps into the creek. So we're gonna go back here. Yeah, I kind of suspect it's looking pretty dry. Oh, okay, there's a little bit of water. So there's some here. So this is a creek, and there's some water back there you can see. But I could certainly just step right over this. Again, there's a little bit more of a holding area there that's deeper. And it's shady back here. And this area actually, there's like two little areas for the creek that merge together. And I guess there's, I mean, we saw fish in here. So the fish come up, I think, from the Cowlitz River nearby. So interesting. And here you can, I don't know if you can see, but the mud is still muddy. Or the clay is still like clay. It's not actually dry back here. There's lots of roses. There's pearly everlasting. There's some spirea. It's interesting. These things have like mildew or fungal damage. What else? These are like a rush, like a wetland plant here that have these. I had these, something similar in my pond in the past. Trying to focus on it. Let's see. There you go. And here are the remains of an old fence line. So from this way on, this is like the south end of our property, is some wetland area. Some of it near the stream, and it is actually protected because there are fish in it. So, oh well, there's a tree right here that fell in the winter. So we do have to be, so that's probably why there's a fence line here, I guess I'm saying. I think there were, so nearby there are cows. I think our whole neighborhood essentially was extra cow grazing area. Oh look, there's some service berries here. pretty dry right now though. But this is a pretty big plant. It's good to know for the future. So here we are now in what I call the tunnel. So if we turn around, it's open back there. That's kind of over there. That's the neighbor's property. Try to see if you can see the mountain from here. Probably not. It's hazy today. But there's this tunnel here where, again, the fence line went. So there's old T-posts and wooden posts. And it's very dry in here right now. In the winter, there's all these little creeks that go down to the back of the property to the large creek. So here's one. There's one right there. And you can see in here, this is what I saw when we first looked at the property. I was trying to determine how wet it was going to be in the winter, because there's not a lot of elevation on this property. There's like maybe 10 feet total. So all of these trees have tons of moss, right, going up pretty high. And right now it's dry, although if I dug down over here, I think it would be wet. But this to me was like, oh, okay, so there's a lot of water that comes through here, because again, the whole ground essentially is covered in moss of different kinds. But it's pretty common here in the shade to have moss. But yeah, different kinds. Again, this is kind of like a carpet feeling. It's cushy. You could lay on it and it would be pretty nice. But yeah, this is part of our forest that is, in the wintertime, fairly underwater, I would say. This part of it. So, again, there's another little area we're going to cross here. So there's about 5 or 6 just in this short tunnel area where water, again, moves from here to the back of the property, gathers in our creek, goes to a larger creek, and then dumps into the Cowlitz River. I'm trying to kind of listen for animals. The animals like to go in this area over here because it's entirely, you can't see it from the house or anything. So this is kind of the loop that I do. There are blackberries here as well. They're the trailing blackberry. So living here, we have a native blackberry, which has this kind of leaf. And then we have Himalayan blackberries that are invasive, and a lot more, they just get bigger. And they, I mean, these blackberries are still not great to like, they will just kind of, my mom would call them ankle biters. They will scratch your legs and stuff. You could see them here, all these crossing. But they're not bad like the Himalayan ones as much. So again, this is where the water is. There's probably a little bit back there right now, but I can't really tell. And then there's actually a barbed wire fence along the side of the property. Wow, look at this. This is like a thistle fruit. I do not know if I've ever seen that. It's interesting. So yeah, this right here is where the animals like to walk, like the wild animals, I guess. So I'll be on the lookout for prints, but this also has low water. Again, it's kind of, I don't know if you can tell, but there's like a hill right here. And then there's a barbed wire fence right here. This was maybe like a gate or something. So I'm just gonna walk this part back to get back to the front by our house. The property here, you can kind of tell there's a little game trail. But yeah, this is where I, in the winter, there's like coyote prints and lots of deer for sure. And then I've never seen bear prints, but I've seen bear scat, I believe, around this time of year because we are in berry season. So yeah, these are all blackberry here. They are forming or dried up. They get a lot of sun, you can tell over here. So sun's coming up over there. And here's our little spirea. There's a little moth on that guy. Yeah, so when we came here around this time of year, I also saw lots of these, you know, native flowers or kind of wildflowers. And then a lot of these plants here, the spirea, the serviceberry, the twinberry honeysuckle, which I think is more like this one. Those berries are kind of done, but I saw all of that and not a lot else. So, this might be goldenrod. My mom was talking about that she has tons of goldenrod, but we didn't have any. But might have some patches here where it gets a lot of sun. So yeah, here, for example, right there, there's a deer print. So because of the clay, and then it dries up, you can get some really good prints here in the clay. But yeah, I don't really see any coyote recently, although the coyote, you know, they travel a lot lighter than the deer. But yeah, there's definitely trails in here where the animals have gone back to be in the shade and in the water, you know, eat some berries. Oh, there's a blackbird up there. Let's see if it'll come flying out when we come near it. So yeah, there's little trails here that go under the barbed wire. Like, I don't love that we have this barbed wire fence. It's not really great for wildlife, but because it's been here a while, or at least I assume it has, because it's damaged in parts, and this property hadn't been used for cows in a bit. I don't really want to change it anytime soon. Because there are, you know, significant areas where they can go through. This is interesting. Not totally sure what these are. Alright, well, we're almost back to the front now, or to the house. Yeah, I can tell it's going to be warm today, but it is hazy, so the sun is, I'm being slightly protected from the sun because of the haze, the smoke haze. Here's another area where the animals walk through. And again, here you can tell the barbed wire fence is not, like, it's got big gaps in it from here to here, like the wire fell, or however it was attached to these wooden posts has rotted through or rusted, which happens here because we get so much rain in the winter. And when we do that, we do get things like this, which is a tree that was alive falling in the rain and wind in the winter and just ripping the entire tree out of the ground. So this was trying to remember if it was a pine or a fir, But yeah, it was alive and fell. You can see some other dead trees here. So there's no trees really in this other area. It's some commercial land, so it might have been, I don't really know if they're using this portion right now, but no one lives there. It's like 200 acres. Oh, here's some more. And so I think that's part of why we get so much wildlife, is that right next to us, oh, a little pine tree. Yeah, right next to us, we have this huge swath of land that doesn't have any people and hasn't really been planted, I don't think. Like, you know, there's trees back there. There are some evergreens, but they're not kind of scattered in the way that normally comes with hand planting them. Wow, these are all service berries that have dried up. Because this thing gets cooked right here. It gets all of the daytime sun. So yeah, we have this patch of trees here that you can tell from the edges they are all slowly dying. Probably just because there's no windbreak for them. The trees become the windbreak and then they break in the wind. And so I'm kind of curious if in a couple years if there will even be any tall trees here, because there's kind of empty areas on either side, which is like not really great for a mature forest. So yeah, here you can see some pines growing. So there are small pines and there are evergreens back there. But usually they plant them like very close together, like, I don't know, 8 feet apart or something. So we would be able to see that. And you can tell here from the plants that we are back into a wet area because we have all this rush to these plants and this tall grass here. So I have walking through here, there's more blackberry. But yeah, this is another place where water settles. I don't think there's any in here right now, but it probably, since we haven't cut this at all, it's retaining its moisture, which is good. Yeah, and then this area is a bit drier because it's been burned previously. So I think when they cleared this property, we have this giant like burn pile. They shoved it all there and then burned some of the piles, so there's charcoal around here. Let's see if I can find any in this area. Yeah, here's some more. I think this is goldenrod. It's pretty short right here, but yeah, it's just interesting to see the different plant patterns depending on where the water goes. So we are almost back to the house, to our lawn, which is the mode. Here though, this again is where the water flows in the winter, and it essentially drowns the grass, I'm pretty sure, so it doesn't really stay. You can go quick say hi to the ducks and the garden, and then we'll be at our full-length video for this week. So hope you've enjoyed the tour. Here's another part of the forest. So here you can see where we mow and where we don't, and then we're back to the front here. Hi guys, good morning. We worked on the fence a bit more. We're trying to work on some of the gates. Hello. It's duck nap time right now. come to steal it. Hello. Hi. Hi. Have a good morning. Hi guys. I actually drained some of their pond yesterday and added more water. So I got some straw, chopped straw the other day and mulched my beds. See a bee right here, looking for flowers. Yeah, so the beds are looking pretty good. It has been warmer now, more consistently, and usually, so I haven't started a new garden in a while, so this is obviously year one of the garden. My sunflowers are looking great. I think they're gonna be popping out soon, which is exciting. But yeah, all these pumpkins are doing really well. But anyway, usually I top off the beds with compost at the beginning of each year, like in the spring before I plant them out. But since this was new soil, it had a mix of compost and other things in it. These guys are looking a little better. More squashes. The beans are looking lovely, lovely. They're actually already to the top of the arch. They are casting shade back here, which I knew would happen, but I guess, again, next year I'll put them on the south side to create shade in the middle here. My Brussels sprout is looking rough. It had been chomped on. And actually the other day I found a wasp, or one of those types, eating a caterpillar that I'm sure had been eating this. So maybe I'll put that video in here at the end if you want to watch. But yeah, that's a nice part about having, if you have your ecosystem going here, you'll have predator bugs also. The fennel up here is just now starting to pop, to bloom. Let's see, there we go. And it's about, I don't know, 4 feet tall, maybe almost 5 feet tall. The peas are almost done. They're getting really dried out, even with regular watering. Wow, the kale's really getting eaten over there too. It's a hard time of year for brassicas. And we definitely have more bugs out here than we did at my old house. But we got some nice big slicing tomatoes forming. But yeah, just mulched everything over the last couple days. I guess I did not mulch the potatoes because those are still ready to come out, so still need to do that project. But yeah, tomatoes are looking good. The deer still have been chomping a bit, so that's part of why we started back on the fence again. Yeah, everything's looking pretty good. Look at all these little chickpeas forming. It's nice to see. Cosmos and the dahlias are looking nice. The borage is starting to flower and come along. And yeah, the pumpkins are all starting to flower back there. So let me show you. I actually have pumpkins forming right there. 2 little guys, and I'm trying to put them up on this, get them to climb this arch. So I'll be lifting them off the ground. They were kind of over in this area. So I'll be lifting them off the ground to get those up there. But yeah. Hi, ducks. Okay. I think we're at 30 minutes, so I'm gonna cut it off for now. Say goodbye to the duckies. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, they're all out there. You guys gonna go swim? You think you're getting treats? But yeah, I fertilized the garden all day yesterday as the pond was draining, and we refilled with new water. So hope you enjoyed the yard and house tour or garden tour today, and I'll keep watching the garden as it grows. Bye for now.